None of the ideas shown in these videos are patented. If you wish to use them, I have no legal way of stopping you. However, I do believe they would benefit me more than it would hurt me. Hello and welcome to my short series on fancy science fiction ideas. First fancy science fiction idea is the Historyscope. How does that work? Well, we all know about gravitational lensing, or maybe not we all, but those of us who keep up on space exploration know about gravitational lensing. That means a telescope looks at something, can see something, but if there's a source of gravity, the source of gravity amplifies the light behind it, makes it appear brighter. Let me paint an example. Here's like a galaxy. This is a galaxy. And here's that's the Hubble Space Telescope. But this galaxy is very far away from the Hubble Space Telescope. The Hubble Space Telescope cannot see it, it's too far away. But there's like something really heavy in between the Hubble Space Telescope and that galaxy. And that something really heavy bends the light of what's behind it, and while it bends it, it also amplifies it. The light comes from the galaxy and it's accelerated by going towards the point of really heavy gravity, which makes it bigger to the Hubble Space Telescope. That's how gravitational lensing works. And of course, we get the big problem that when the Hubble Space Telescope sees something that is gravitationally lensed, doesn't see like perfect crisp image of it, but because it's warped around a source of gravity, this would be like a point. This is a circle, a point warped around a source of gravity. It is warped to a circle, but computers nowadays can reconstruct that and turn it into a point again. So this point is used to be the circle, but a modern computer turned it back into this point. Of course, you can go like multi-way gravitational lensing. So you got this circle, like something even further away than the galaxy the Hubble Space Telescope originally saw. There's something behind it, and it gets warped even more. So you get a circle that is like warped even more by the gravity of what you saw. So it gets like double warped, and even stronger computers need to reconstruct it. And then you behind that even you get like something really bizarrely warped, because there's like, I don't know, like 5 points of heavy gravity in front of it that lens it, that make it stronger, but also warp it in an optical kind of way. So you really need a strong computer to decipher it and put it back together into a coherent picture. That in mind, there's a concept out there to use the gravitational lensing of ours. I drop my pen. Of our sun this is our sun. This tiny dot is us. And send like a probe, like really far out in the solar system, like a space telescope. We send it really far out, like beyond Pluto, and use the gravitational lensing of our sun to make like a super telescope. Because if you use that, we'd have like a super amazing mega telescope with an amplification of like billions. You'd still have to get a probe all the way beyond the orbit of Pluto, which would be really expensive, but it would be really amazing because you'd have like a magnification of really millions. You'd be like looking at Alpha Centauri and looking at it like like it's your backyard. So, once we know that, the European Space Agency has a satellite out there called Gaia, which is mapping the positions and movements of millions of stars in the galaxy. Let me draw millions of stars. Blah, blah, blah. This looks like total shit, but the Gaia Space Telescope is mapping the position and movement of millions of stars. When we map the positions and movements of millions of stars, it's like you got a star right there and it's moving this way. You got a star right here and it's moving this way. The reason they are moving that way is because they are affected by gravity. So what the Gaia Space Telescope is doing is telling us where all the sources of gravity are in our galaxy. So far, so good. So, the Gaia Space Telescope tells us where all the sources of gravity are in our galaxy. So, empty sheet of paper. We are here. This dot. This is us. This is Earth. And I drop it again. And the Gaia Space Telescope identifies a really heavy source of gravity here. Really heavy source of gravity. So light coming from there would be like really bent. Light coming from there would be like really bent, and the light we see would actually be coming from there. And it just so happens there's a stellar mass black hole right here, which is bending light this way. There, the stellar mass black hole is bending light this way. And there's like a pair of neutron stars bending light even more, and another stellar mass black hole which Gaia just discovered is bending light this way. And knowing all the sources of gravity, we know light coming from here, being bent by the stellar mass black hole, being bent by the pair of neutron stars, and being bent by this another black hole. Eventually we get light from planet Earth. Physically, that's completely possible. So what we have is we got like this is our thing that we have beyond the orbit of Pluto, the amazing mega telescope that uses the sun's gravitational lensing. So it looks at the sun and gets the sun's gravitational lensing. That kind of suspiciously looks like something not decent. And we get this super magnification, and we use this to look at this sort of a source of gravity, which in turn is bending light from that star black hole, and which in turn is bending light from this stellar black hole, which in turn is bending light from this pair of neutron stars. That essentially, what that can mean is that we can have a telescope let's take this again. Like from the sun to that, it's like whatever. It's like 10 light days or 20 light days or whatever. To that source of gravity, let's say it's 20 light years. Let's say this is 30 light years. Let's say this is 30 light years. Let's say this is 30 light years. And this is 30, 30, 30, which makes 90. In 20, 110. What we are doing right there, if all that is physically possible with the proper enough magnification, is that we are looking at ourselves 30 plus 30 plus 30 plus 20, 110 years ago. So doing that, we are looking at Earth in the year 1910, 4 years before World War I. With a super amazing magnification, we could actually really get a close look on how Earth would look in the year 1910. By using these random numbers, 30 light years, 30 light years, 30 light years, 20 light years. And with the Gaia Space Telescope identifying so many sources of gravity in our galaxy, we could technically pick any time in our history. We could look back 150 years. We could look back just 50 years. We could look back 500 years. We could look back 50,000 years. And see how Earth looked like back then. That is the Historyscope. That is one of the most incredible, amazing science fiction concepts you could imagine. And it hasn't been done yet. And it's something that I hope will be done in the real world, not in fiction, but in reality, at some point in this century, because it should, in theory, be possible to do it. It should, in theory, be possible to do it, because light bends around these black holes and neutron stars, and we should be able to look back at ourselves if we have the proper amplification and the proper telescopes. We should be able to do that. And then we can look back exactly how we as humans were at any given time in history. That's the Historyscope. That's some really amazing science fiction concept for you right there.